My wife left me for her college ex and my daughter called him her fairy tale dad, so I disappeared quietly. What happened next left them both stunned. I'm a 34-year-old guy and had been married for 17 years. Let's call my wife Melissa. We have a daughter Zoe who's 16. I work as an electrical contractor on big industrial sites. It's dangerous work, high voltage systems that could kill you if you're not careful, but it pays well enough that we had a nice home in a good neighborhood. So this one day, I'm about 30 minutes from home working at a job site, sweating bullets while installing these heavy-duty circuit breakers in a factory. My crew had gone on lunch, but I stayed back to finish wiring one last panel so we could test it when they got back. Then, I get a call. It's my neighbor, Derek. Now, Derek's not the kind of guy to call me during work hours. We're casual, we grab a coffee now and then, or catch a game, but never random calls like this in the middle of a Tuesday. Yo, what's going on? I asked, already sensing something wasn't right. Ethan, Manu, need to get home. Now, Derek said, sounding alarmed. My stomach dropped. What happened? Is there a fire? Is Zoe okay? There's a U-Haul in front of your house, he said. Like 3 guys are loading up your furniture. Your wife's there, too, she's directing them. I thought maybe you were moving and didn't mention it, but it just felt off. My brain just froze. What? Are you serious? Dead serious. They already took your leather couch, the big TV, a bunch of other stuff. She's not even upset, literally checking stuff off a clipboard. I'm on my way, I told him, ripping off my work gloves. I rushed to my supervisor, told him I had an emergency at home, possibly a robbery. One look at my face, and he just nodded. Go. I broke every speed limit on the way back. My mind was racing. Was Melissa being forced to do this? Was this some kind of daylight burglary? Did she snap and decide to just bounce? I turned onto our street and saw it from a block away. A massive 26-foot U-Haul was half on the lawn. Melissa was there in yoga pants and a tank top, clipboard in hand, cool as can be, while strangers carried out our furniture. But what really made my blood boil was the tall dude in designer sunglasses and a polo shirt, directing the movers like he owned the place, on my property, giving orders about my stuff. I slammed the brakes, parked on the curb, and jumped out, didn't even bother shutting the door. I marched right up to him. What the hell do you think you're doing? I shouted, inches from his face. He barely looked at me, just gave this bored glance and said, mind your business, dude. I didn't even think. My fist moved on its own. I punched him square in the jaw, felt the impact all the way to my shoulder. He dropped instantly. His shades flew off, blood started trickling from his lip. I was on him. Years of working 60-hour weeks, being loyal, being their end. Now this stranger was taking my life apart. I shouted, you think you can steal from me? And kept swinging. The movers just stood there, frozen. I grabbed this guy by the shirt with one hand and called 911 with the other. There's a robbery in progress at my house, I told the dispatcher, breath ragged. 1 suspect's down. Send someone fast. I gave my address and hung up. That's when Melissa ran over, yelling, Ethan, stop, get off him. She shoved me hard enough to knock me off balance. She knelt next to him, frantically checking his face, wiping the blood with her sleeve. That's when it clicked. You know this guy? I asked, already knowing but needing confirmation. She looked up at me with zero shame, just annoyance. Yes, she said coldly, this is Jordan. He's my boyfriend. Everything just stopped. My ears rang. 17 years together and I find out like this. Before I could even think, I kicked Jordan in the ribs, hard. He curled up and wheezed like a dying accordion. I kicked him again. I should have stopped, but I couldn't. You're my wife, I screamed. And you're moving our stuff out with your boyfriend. I looked at the truck. You're seriously just living, taking half our things without even telling me. She stood up, dusting off her knees. I was going to call you after. I didn't want a scene. A scene. Like this was just a scheduling conflict. Like she wasn't detonating our lives. The cops showed up before I could say. More lights flashing, sirens blaring. Neighbors started coming out to watch. A big cop stepped in between me and Jordan, his hand near his holster. What's going on here? He asked. I'm the homeowner, I said, trying to stay calm. My neighbor called me, said my stuff was being loaded into a truck. I come home, and this guy's giving orders. My wife, apparently, decided to leave me and take half our things without a word. The officer turned to Melissa. Ma'am, Is this your husband? She nodded, arms crossed, still pissed. And you're removing property from the home. I'm taking my half, she snapped, like it was obvious. The cop sighed. Ma'am, you can't just divide property without a court order. Until a judge makes a ruling, you can't legally remove furniture or shared belongings. Her face changed. What? That's ridiculous. Half of this stuff is mine, maybe, he said, but the law doesn't work like that. You need legal documentation. What you're doing could be considered theft. Theft, it's my stuff too. He didn't budge. You can take your personal belongings, clothes, toiletries, things clearly yours, but furniture, electronics, those stay put until the court decides. Melissa looked like she was going to explode. That's when Jordan finally spoke, voice nasal and strained. Beba, let's just go. We'll figure this out later. I lunged again, but the cop caught me. That's enough, he warned. One more move and you're in cuffs too. I backed off, but I was fuming. The cops turned to the movers. Unload everything you've packed and return it inside. They didn't argue. They just started hauling everything back in. This isn't over, Melissa hissed as she stormed inside to pack her stuff. Oh, it's just beginning, I called after her. One officer stayed to supervise, making sure everything was returned and that Melissa only took her personal items. I sat there in my living room, staring at the wall, my knuckles bruised and aching. My wedding ring felt like it was burning a hole in my hand. I pulled it off and tossed it on the coffee table. I was still sitting there when Zoe walked in after school. Backpack over one shoulder. She froze when she saw me. Dad, why are you home? Zoe asked. Then she noticed the mess, the furniture scattered around like it had been dragged and put back in a rush. A few drops of blood still stained the carpet. What happened? I patted the couch beside me. Sit down, kiddo. We need to talk. She sat slowly, nervous. Is everything okay? I took a breath. Your mom left today. She's with someone else. I expected shock, confusion, maybe tears. What I didn't expect was for Zoe to just nod slightly and say, "Oh, you mean Jordan?" My heart sank like a rock. You knew about him. She started picking at her nails, avoiding eye contact. Yeah, Mom told me a while ago. How long? My voice came out flat, almost hollow. She shrugged. 6 months, maybe. He's her college boyfriend. They reconnected on Facebook last year. Every word was a dagger. My own daughter had known her mom was cheating for half a year, and never said a word to me. She says he's her soulmate, Zoe went on, still not looking at me, that they were meant to be together, but life got in the way. He moved to Europe after college and they lost touch. She said she only married you because you were stable, and she thought you'd be a good provider. So I was the backup plan, the paycheck. That's it. So we just kept talking, like she wasn't dismantling my entire life. She said you were a good choice, reliable, nice, but she never loved you like she loves Jordan. She said it like it was the weather, like my entire marriage hadn't been one long con. If Jordan hadn't moved overseas, your mom would have married him instead, and you would have been his kid. That would have been better, right? I asked, doing my best to keep my voice from cracking. Yeah, Zoe said dreamily. Mom says they're soulmates. It would have been perfect. Who else knows about this? I asked. Grandma and Grandpa, she said, referring to Melissa's parents. They never really liked you anyway. They always thought Mom could do better. That was it. That was the final straw. 17 years of holidays, 17 years of favors, building their deck, fixing their cars, moving their furniture, and they thought I wasn't good enough. I let out a dry, bitter laugh. Dad, are you okay? Zoe asked, finally showing a little concern. I gave her a smile I know didn't reach my eyes. I'm going to be just fine. In fact, I'm going to give everyone exactly what they want. I didn't sleep that night, just sat there, planning. And by morning, I had a blueprint. First stop, Marcus, my old football buddy, turned divorce lawyer, one of the most ruthless attorneys in the city. I rewired his house for free last year. I walked into his office with no appointment. His secretary took one look at me and waved me straight through. Jesus, Ethan, you look like hell, Marcus said. I laid it all out, every grim detail. By the time I was done, he was already pulling forms from his drawer. I need this done fast, I told him. She gets the bare minimum, not a dime more. Marcus nodded. We'll file today. Emergency hearing to freeze assets, especially since she's already tried to move property. What about custody? I laughed, cold and hollow. Let her have Zoe. They deserve each other. He gave me a look but didn't push it. You'll still be on the hook for child support. Fine. Whatever the law requires until she's 18. Not a penny extra. Next, I went to the bank, walked up to the teller with my ID ready. I need to withdraw from our joint account, I said. All of it. Brenda the teller looked nervous when she saw the balance. Just under $23,000. Our emergency fund, plus what we'd saved for a kitchen remodel. The entire amount, sir. Actually, I said, thinking, leave $37 in there. She blinked. That's a very specific number. That's exactly what my wife contributed in the past year, I said. The rest was from my checks. After that, I called HR at work, removed Melissa as my life insurance and 401k beneficiary, replaced her with my sister. Then, I called our credit card companies and reported the cards as lost so they'd cancel and reissue them. Cancelled our joint Costco, Netflix, Hulu, Prime, even called the gym and had Melissa taken off the family plan. Lastly, I called my mom and told her everything. There was a long silence. Then she said, I can't say I'm surprised. That girl always had wandering eyes even at your wedding. Why didn't you ever tell me? Would you have listened? She asked. You were head over heels and I didn't have proof. Just a gut feeling. Mothers know. We talked a little longer. I told her my plan to let Melissa keep custody of Zoe. Are you sure? She asked. Zoe's still your daughter. Even if she's been difficult. I can't look at her right now, Mom. Every time I see her face, I remember that she knew, that she liked it, that she wished some other man was her father. She's 16, Ethan. Teenagers say dumb things. They don't always understand how deep the damage goes. Maybe, but she's about to learn. My mom sighed. If you really can't deal with it, she can stay with me, at least until things cool off. But don't make permanent decisions in anger. I told her I'd think about it. Maybe she was right. But right then, I couldn't stand to look at Zoe. The next day, Melissa got served right at the salon where she worked. I paid extra for same-day service, worth every penny. According to the process server, she went pale the second she realized what it was. And it wasn't just divorce papers, it was nothing. No house in my name before the marriage. No truck company vehicle. Her car was already in her name. She could keep it. No alimony, we made similar incomes. Just the bare minimum child support for Zoe for the next 2 years. My phone blew up all afternoon. First 10 calls went to voicemail. I finally answered on the 11th. What is this? She screamed. Divorce papers, I said calmly. Pretty obvious from the legal language. You're trying to screw me over. I get half. That's how this works. I actually laughed. You get half of what we acquired together during the marriage. The house, mine before we tied the knot. My 401k, protected, you've got your own. We earn about the same, no alimony. You keep your car. I'm giving you exactly what the law requires. Honestly, more than you deserve. This isn't over, she hissed. I'll fight this. Good luck. I've got texts from Zoe, confirming the affair. I've got a police report from when you tried to steal our furniture. And I've got Marcus who eats attorneys like yours for breakfast. She started crying then, trying to guilt me. How am I supposed to start over, with nothing after 17 years? Don't I deserve something for all that time? You got Jordan, I said. You're a soulmate, right? The guy you should have been with all along? Now you can be with him, without me in the way. Isn't that what you wanted? I hung up before she could answer. 2 weeks later was our first court hearing. Marcus pushed for an expedited date and the judge agreed. Especially after seeing the evidence of Melissa's attempted property grab, I showed up in my best suit, clean-shaven, looking sharp. Marcus was already there, filesinorder.com, and focused. Melissa showed up late with her lawyer, a young woman named Vanessa who looked like she still had student loans. Jordan was with them. His face still carried the bruises from our last meeting. They sat across from me in court. Melissa, her boyfriend, her parents, and I could feel their eyes burning holes into me the whole time. Zoe sat beside them, her arms crossed, refusing to meet my gaze. She looked at me like I was some distant relative, not her father. I kept my face blank, even though it cut deep, seeing her stand with the people who had backed Melissa's betrayal. The judge got straight to business. Melissa's lawyer came in, swinging, demanding half the house, support, and a share of my retirement. Marcus.com and collected, tore it all down. The house, bought before the marriage, mine retirement accounts. Separate, protected, spousal support. Not a chance. We earned similar salaries. When it came to our joint bank account, Marcus presented statements showing Melissa had contributed practically nothing. The judge sided with us. Then came the part I hadn't expected. Melissa didn't want custody. She told the judge she was moving in with her new boyfriend and didn't want to disrupt Zoe's senior year. Zoe's face turned pale. She looked blindsided. Marcus suggested Zoe stay with Melissa's parents for now, and surprisingly, they agreed. The judge made it official temporary custody to the grandparents, both parents paying support. As we left the courtroom, I heard Zoe's voice behind me. Dad, wait. I turned. She stood in the hallway, smaller than I remembered, like a little girl again. Why don't you want me to live with you? She asked, tears streaking her cheeks. You hate me now, don't you? Something in me cracked, just a little. I don't hate you, Zoe, I said, but it's hard to look at you right now without remembering how you hid your mom's affair, how you said it would have been better if Jordan had been your dad. I didn't mean it, she cried. I was just repeating what Mom said. That's the problem, I replied quietly. You believed her. You sided with her. And it wasn't just words, you kept secrets. You helped her keep me in the dark. Her grandmother stepped in, putting an arm around her. Come on, sweetheart, let's go home. As they led her away, Zoe looked back, still crying. For a second I almost called her back. Almost. Marcus touched my shoulder. That was rough. You all right? No, I said honestly, but I will be. The next few weeks blurred together. I buried myself in work, taking every overtime shift I could. When I wasn't working, I was hunting for a new place to live. I couldn't stay in that house, not with its ghosts. Eventually, I found an apartment closer to the job site. 2 bedrooms, just in case. I wasn't ready to give up on Zoe completely. Despite everything, she was still my daughter. Melissa kept trying to reach me, angry voicemails, tearful ones, then cold ones about who gets what. I only responded to the practical stuff through text. About 3 weeks after court, I got a call from Zoe's grandmother, Carol. Ethan, it's about Zoe, she said, voice tight. My heart dropped. What's wrong? Is she sick? Not physically, she said, but she's not okay. Barely eating, not sleeping. Her grades are tanking. She thinks you've abandoned her. I sighed, rubbing my temple. Carol, she knew about the affair for months and didn't say a word. She told me she wished another man was her father. How do I come back from that? There was a pause. Did you know, she said quietly, that Melissa threatened to send her to boarding school if she told you? I sat down hard. Well, she told Zoe that if she ruined things with Jordan, she'd ship her away. Said it would all be her fault if Jordan left. I didn't know what to say. I'd been so angry, so hurt I hadn't considered Zoe might have been cornered. Would you talk to her? Carol asked gently. Really, talk to her. I think she needs to hear that you don't hate her. I'll come by tomorrow after work, I said. The next evening, I pulled up to Carol and Bill's house. Zoe was sitting on the front porch, hunched over, her hoodie way too big for her. She looked rough, pale, tired, eyes dark from sleepless nights. When she saw me, she stood, hesitant. Grandma said, "You're not doing great." I said, "I'm fine," she mumbled, eyes on the ground. I sat down on the porch steps and patted the space beside me. After a moment, she joined me. She told me what your mom said. I said, about boarding school, about keeping Jordan a secret. Zoe tensed. She said if I told you, she'd send me away, that I'd lose all my friends, that I'd ruin everything. I nodded, heart sinking. Why didn't you tell me at court? I asked. I was scared, she whispered, and ashamed. I knew it was wrong, but I didn't know how to fix it. We sat there in silence. I didn't mean what I said, she finally choked out. About Jordan. I never wanted him to be my dad. Mom kept saying how perfect he was, that everything would finally be right. I wanted to believe her. I wanted something to hold on to. Life's not perfect, so, I said. There's no such thing as soulmates, or perfect families, just people doing their best. Sometimes messing up, sometimes doing better. She nodded, tears sliding down her cheeks. I miss you, Dad, she whispered. My chest tightened. I reached over and put my arm around her. I miss you too, Zoe. She leaned into me, sobbing. Her whole body shook. I'm sorry, she kept saying. I'm so sorry. I know, I told her. I know you are. When she calmed down, I said, "Wanna see my new place this weekend? It's not much, but there's a room for you, if you want it. She looked up, eyes full of hope. Really? We've got stuff to work through, I said. It won't be overnight, but you're still my daughter. That's never changed. She hugged me tight enough, it hurt. I'd like that. I'd like that a lot. As I left, Carol stopped me at the door. Thank you, she said softly. And, I'm sorry. Bill and we knew what Melissa was doing. We just hoped she'd come to her senses. She's our daughter. We all make mistakes trying to protect our kids, I said, and I meant it. The final divorce hearing was a formality. The judge finalized everything. Custody split between me and the grandparents. Zoe could see Melissa on occasional weekends, if she wanted to. She didn't. Melissa showed up alone. No Jordan. She looked hollow-thin, pale eyes, sunken. She nodded to the judge's questions, said nothing else. Outside, in the parking lot, she rushed up to me. Ethan, wait. I stopped, bracing myself. What? She took a shaky breath. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. I stared at her, searching for a trace of the woman I once loved. Bit late for that, don't you think? She looked down. Jordan left. He wasn't who I thought he was. I laughed cold and sharp. You burned our life to the ground for a guy who ghosted you in under a month. How poetic. It wasn't like that, she said weakly. He was different than I remembered. Let me guess, fantasy didn't match reality. She didn't answer. I made a mistake, Ethan. A terrible mistake. You made several. She looked up, eyes red. Do you think? Is there any chance we could? No, I said flatly. Not in this lifetime. Her lip trembled. You didn't just cheat, Melissa. You lied for months. You threatened our daughter. You tried to rob me. You broke everything. She swallowed. I still love you. I shook my head. No, you don't. You just miss the security. You miss me being your safety net. Now that your fantasy collapsed. She flinched like I'd slapped her. And for the first time in a long time, I felt peace. That's not fair, Melissa said. None of this is fair. Welcome to real life, I told her, and turned to walk away. He hit me, she blurted out. I stopped, not turning around. Jordan, she continued quietly. He had a temper. I didn't see it until we moved in together. He'd get angry over the smallest things. Then one night, he just snapped. Despite everything, I felt a flicker of anger, not at her, but at him. No one deserves that. Not even Melissa. Did you report him? I asked, still facing away. Yeah, she said. I've got a restraining order now. I turned back. Good. I'm glad you did. At least I'm staying with my cousin right now, she added. The salon cut my hours. I've been a mess since. All this. I knew exactly what she was angling for: help, money, maybe even a place to stay, maybe even us. But that ship, it hit an iceberg, sank, and took every lifeboat with it. I hope things get better for you, I said. And I meant it. But it's not my problem anymore. And with that, I walked away feeling lighter than I had in months. The divorce was finalized. The chapter closed, and it was time to rebuild my life, my relationship with Zoe, and figure out what I wanted from the next part of my story. And it's wild how much can change in half a year. I got promoted. I now run my own electrical crew, installing commercial systems, better pay, more regular hours. I get weekends off, sometimes even a Friday night. Zoe moved in with me full-time 2 months ago. She's doing better grades up, smiling more. She's even dating this kid named Alex. Seems like a good kid. Still gets the death glare when he picks her up dad duties. Zoe and I have had some hard talks about trust, about healing, about how families break and rebuild. It's not perfect, but it's real. She's seeing a therapist weekly, says it helps. I believe her. Last weekend, she brought up her mom while we made dinner. Do you ever miss her? She asked, chopping onions. I paused. I miss who I thought she was, but that person never really existed. So no, not really. Zoe nodded, quietly processing it. She keeps asking about you, if you're seeing anyone. I chuckled. Tell her to worry about her own love life, but truth is, I am seeing someone. Nothing heavy yet, but promising. She's a project manager for one of the construction firms that hires my crew. We met when she called me out on using the wrong gauge wire. She was right, specs had changed, and nobody told me. She's smart, funny, no nonsense, the opposite of Melissa in every way that counts. She's also divorced, so she gets it. The walls, the trust issues, the hesitation. We're taking it slow. She's met Zoe a few times, just low-key dinners. Zoe likes her. That alone, massive relief. Melissa still contacts me once in a while, usually over paperwork, insurance stuff for Zoe, but sometimes it crosses into personal. I keep it professional, firm lines, no openings. I don't want her back. I can't go back. I ran into her parents at Zoe's choir concert last month. Bill shook my hand and said, "You're a good father, Ethan. Better than we gave you credit for it." Wasn't an apology, but it was something. As for Jordan, word is he violated the restraining order and ended up in county jail for a month. Can't say I lost any sleep over it. A year ago, if you'd told me my wife would leave me, my daughter would hide it, and I'd have to rebuild from ashes, I'd have thought it would kill me. And for a while, it almost did. But here I am, still standing, stronger than I was before. Life didn't magically fix itself. It's not a fairy tale, but the weight in my chest is gone. The silence in my house doesn't scream anymore, it feels like peace. Zoe and I are good, real good. We've had brutally honest talks. We cried. We rebuilt. She's got this emotional depth. Now it blows me away. She wants to study psychology. Says she wants to help other kids process the kind of trauma we never talk about in most families. That's her heart. And it's a good one. Melissa, still out there making Melissa choices. Last I heard, she's dating some guy from a car dealership. Wears too much cologne, says bro unironically. Zoe meets her for lunch now and then. I let them have that space. I don't have the energy to control it, and I don't need to. I'm doing all right. Jaime moved in a little while ago. She's not who I thought I needed, but she's exactly what I do. We keep things simple. She makes Zoe laugh. That alone earns her gold. I sold the house, signed the papers, walked away from all the ghosts, even split the profit with Melissa. Not out of obligation, but for peace of mind. Call it a business transaction. A clean break, no regrets. Not about how I handled it. You don't fight a forest fire with a squirt gun. When someone lights your life on fire, you grab the hose, bulldoze the ashes, and rebuild something better. The only part I wish I'd handled differently was Zoe. I was angry, crushed, blindsided, and I built a wall between us out of that pain. But we broke it down. Took time, took work. But we got there. She challenges me, calls me out, makes me proud in a way I can't put into words. Oh, and to all the people diming me asking if Zoe's really my kid, stop. That girl is mine in every way that matters. DNA doesn't make a father. Showing up does. So yeah, life isn't perfect. But I'm not stuck in a nightmare anymore. If you're reading this from the ruins of your own broken relationship, wondering if you'll ever feel normal again, you will. Walk away. Rebuild. Protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. Catch y'all on the flip.